All right, Tramp, thanks. Witnesses began taking the stand today in the Allison Feldman murder trial. Right now, one of the first officers to respond to the scene is testifying. The defendant, Ian Mitchum, is accused of beating Allison Feldman to death inside her Scottsdale home 11 years ago. Attorneys finished up questioning with Alex Stone earlier this afternoon. He's Feldman's former boyfriend. The media was told not to put him on camera. Police ruled the boyfriend out, saying his DNA was not found at the crime scene. Yesterday, the defense argued that Scottsdale police had the wrong man, even trying to lay the blame on a pharmacist. Today, prosecutors asked Stone about that man.
Did you ever go to a Walgreens with her to fill any prescriptions?
I may have. I don't exactly recall.
Did Allison ever complain to you about anyone that worked at the pharmacy during your relationship?
No.
The trial's expected to last more than 6 months.
Let's continue our legal deep dive with criminal defense attorney Josh Coles-Rude again. So the defense, they have said from the get-go, especially yesterday in the opening statement, that they have the wrong guy. They say the pharmacist did it. So if that's the case, do you think the pharmacist will testify?
Great question. So let's start at the beginning. Whenever a defense attorney says during opening arguments that you have the wrong guy, it kind of pulls at the heartstrings of anybody listening, because we all have a fear of being accused of something that we didn't do. Now here, they're blaming the pharmacist, and that means that there has to be some evidence that this guy was involved. So, will the prosecution call them? Probably not. The prosecutor doesn't want to call a pharmacist and aid in the defense. But the defense might, and that will create some problems for the prosecution. And here's why. If you're the defense attorney representing the pharmacist, and he needs a defense attorney, you're going to tell him to plead the fifth because you don't want any implication on your client. So that means the prosecution has to grant him immunity to be able to testify. Because what you don't want is him to say, I'm pleading the fifth and I'm not saying anything.
Right.
Because if you do that in front of a jury, that's going to be a huge win for the defense. Now, if you grant him immunity, that's still a win for a defense, but it's certainly watered down about what it could be.
Okay, but what about a third-part defense?
Yeah, so
what does that mean?
So a third-party defense is a statutory defense where a defendant is saying that some other guy did it, and they have to provide at least some evidence, really, to present it. Otherwise, they're going to be hammered at closing arguments by the prosecutor and saying that, look, they said it was somebody else, this third-party defense. They presented no evidence whatsoever because there is no evidence. The defense is just throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what's going to stick, and at the end of the day, we got to trust the science. So they need to have at least a colorable claim that the pharmacist is involved here.
Why would this trial last up to 7 months? That sounds, very long and rare. Why?
It is rare, but in a case that's over 10 years old, that is going to have a lot of experts. We're talking about the latest type of DNA, which we haven't gone into yet, but there was some controversy about how they extracted and matched the DNA to the defendant in this case.
But the Arizona Supreme Court upheld that.
They did, yeah. The DNA took the long road to get here. It's already been litigated at the Supreme Court. So now the prosecutors don't have to worry about admissibility. Right. They don't have to worry about the process. They can just talk about the results, which is great for them because now this is not an appealable issue. But they're also going to have GPS data, and because this case is a circumstantial case, so the murder, they're going to have to prove the murder by the circumstances because they don't have any direct evidence, that is a confession or an eyewitness that the defendant did this, that he committed the murder. Right. That's why it's going to take a long time.
Okay, all right, with the familial DNA.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big issue there.
Huge issue.
Okay.
Yep.
Josh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And remember, we are streaming the entire trial on our 12 Plus streaming app. Now's a good time to download that app to watch for free so that you'll be ready for when the trial continues next week. Mark?
In about